Game 3, picks and bans time.
One thing you have to say is the SBENU have to be so on their toes when it comes to the picks and bans, because there's so many players they have to play around, so many different champions they have to respect, just with a different champion pool that every single player brings. Will we see a Coco special? That's what I want to see. Bring back the Jace is what I say.
Huh.
Korean
Well,
sniper
I mean,
action.
it would fit right in with their poke comps, wouldn't it?
Ah, yes, they're poke comps.
We did see week 1, I believe, Coco did pull out the Jace.
It looked great on the champ, so
Yeah, he did.
certainly still in his wheelhouse. A lot of AD carry bans. Callista actually banned out in the blue side from Longzhu.
Okay. And you gotta wonder how much they're trying to grab that Nidalee for Chaser. We'll see. Or maybe the Lee Sin away from Flawless. I don't know.
Chaser is a good Lee Sin player. I don't think it justifies first pick status, but does
No.
taking it away from Flawless justify first pick status? That's the question we're going to get the quick answer to. Lulu's available as well.
GP banned out. Corky's still up, so they may first pick him. He's first pick worthy, and they will go ahead and grab that. So Lee Sin on the table, as is Nidalee, as is Rek'Sai. So really giving them all the choices they want. They're going to go with that Nidalee first.
Will that be the start of a poke comp, or is that just looking for aggressive jungle pathing and denying Chaser one of his trademark champions? That's something we wait to find out with the rest of this draft. First pick Corki makes so much sense. Coco has looked excellent on the mid lane Corki already this split, so it's a nice lock-in, and still plenty of junglers left to choose from for Longzhu.
Yeah, you know, you do kind of force, I suppose, Flawless onto that Nidalee pick just to keep it away from Chaser, and that prevents Longzhu from having to worry about the Lee Sin. And, you know, we know that Chaser can play that Rek'Sai just fine, too, so probably going to be okay picking up that one. He can take the Elise, too, if he wants to.
And the most impressive win I've seen from Longzhu this season was when Chaser was on Rek'Sai and Expression picked Fiora into Lissandra into Fiora, and those two just dismantled So-Won in their first series of the split against Jin Air. So they can recreate that and really play around Expression or play around their lane, something that Longzhu have struggled to do with this triumvirate in the top side of the map. Maybe it will justify the interesting roster choice they've gone with in Game 3.
Yeah, Rek'Sai and Bard taken for their second rotation for Longzhu, and here has pretty much played Bard almost every game this season. A couple exceptions, but he's had a great season on the Bard.
Bard
Lulu,
specialist.
Lucian.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
Lucian comps. Nucleus looked great on the Lucian. Lulu in the mid lane, we'd expect to potentially open up a big carry performance from Nuclear. We're just waiting to see what I imagine the top lane pick is going to be, although there's always, of course, the outside chance of the Sarsen special.
Yeah, this Longzhu comp is looking a lot like game number 1. They had the Bard, they had the Ezreal. The big difference is that they weren't able to grab the Corki, so they ended up with the Lulu for their other poke, which obviously isn't quite as ideal.
Poppy's gone through multiple drafts tonight.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, this is a very, very powerful pick on patch 6.2. No nerfs have come through to her yet. Still has the 1.5 second knock up on the double instant cast of the ultimate.
All right, Ezreal Poppy.
Now SBENU have to come up with a top laner to play into Poppy. Fiora is always an option. Doesn't have a lot of kill pressure, but does get her farm and still can be a factor in team fights. Of course, Fiora and Lulu have that excellent synergy. Will we just see the Lulu flex to top, though? There's outside potential of that.
I mean, we talked about the win rate of top Lulu in Champions so far. It's like 23% right now. It's really low. So it'd be a bit of a risk, statistically speaking, to put that Lulu in top for Sol, and Sol isn't exactly the strongest top laner anyway. It's hard to pass up that Victor in mid, though, isn't it?
There's also a lot of kill pressure from Rek'Sai Poppy onto this Lulu, even with the wild growth. You stun her against the wall, lay a CC, she's dead. She has very low base stats until she pops the wild growth, so...
Now, if they were to go for Trundle, it would be a top lane Trundle then, I would imagine.
Top lane Trundle has evolved to be a good pick into the Poppy, but they are going to go for the Fiora. Okay. It is a Fiora comp, just like in Game 1. It felt like there was a good Fiora comp. Potentially they weren't able to act upon. That was Longzhu that time. This time it's SBENU that have a good Fiora comp, but the laning phase against Poppy is not as an easy one for the Fiora.
Yeah, SBENU has a good amount of poke in this Lulu Graves, I suppose.
They have good team fight. They don't have initiate though, so they definitely want to be controlling the objectives.
Yeah.
They're kiting backwards, and then you get the Fiora flank into the wild growth. Great team fight comp, but when it comes to actually getting a pick options almost entirely absent.
Longzhu looks a little bit better in the team fight, don't they?
Surprising. It definitely hasn't been their wheelhouse in their previous matches, but in this particular game they've picked for the team fight, Poppy is just a monster in team fights. They have more flexible options, but if SBENU can control, crucially, the dragons, I think they're in a great spot.
True enough. We will see. Longzhu and SBENU all tied up, and this is SBENU's big chance to get their first match win of the season. So far, they are sitting in 10th with no wins at all.
They won against this lineup in game 1. Outside chance, they can do it again.
We'll see. I mean, it did take kind of a bad team fight from Longzhu to give that game to SBENU. So if Longzhu plays things a little bit tighter, you'd expect them to be able to take the 2-1. Stranger things have happened, though, in Champions. We'll have to just wait and see as we move into game number 3 between Longzhu and SBENU. It's time, guys. Let's get in the game.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands.
There's a room where the light won't find you. All right, doesn't sound like a very fun room to be in.
Sounds like a dungeon.
I know, I don't want to be in the dungeon. Longzhu versus SBENU. Both teams moving out onto Summoner's Rift for our third game, our final game in this first best of 3.
You have to feel like, once again, it might be all about flawless. They've had 3 game wins this season. 2 of them have been flawless MVP performances. Crucially on the Lee Sin, that he's not on this game, was available. Longzhu definitely the first team that all 3 games allow Lee Sin to be available. Only 1 pick of it.
Ouch. Wow.
His expression, I don't know if he was watching his screen when he got chunked out a little bit, but no real kill pressure from Fiora at level 1.
Bit awkward. Yep. See the Masteries. A lot of Thunderlords over on the side of Longzhu.
The Windspeaker's Blessing from Alistar, of course, this is something that's actually going to be nerfed, the interaction between Alistar and this Keystone in the next patch. They're nerfing the cooldown on Alistar's heal, because the big thing right now is that with it at 12 seconds in laning phase, you're consistently giving that armor and MR over, and even in a siege, with minions dying, with champions dying, you keep almost permanent uptime on armor and magic resist to go along with the heals he's giving. So nerfing that cooldown makes that synergy a little bit worse.
Right. Still a pretty strong Keystone Mastery, it seems like.
Will we see standard lanes? It looks like we will.
Yeah, Captain Jack and Pure just taking one of the mini blue sentinel guys, I guess, whatever you want to call him.
I believe you're correct. I think you're nailing that one. There's Brambleback Pit, there's mini blue sentinels.
Yep. We know the party at the Bramble Pit. That's
yes.
where all the action happens.
One of Rivington's best parties.
But we don't know about the blue buff. There's no parties there.
No? Sometimes. If Anivia's in the game, there's often a party at the blue buff.
Could be.
But standard lanes, this is something that's different. This is favor. Well, in terms of laning phase, it's Lucian Alistar, so the answer's SBENU, but Longzhu does have that extra experience. It's hard to say whether SBENU know to respect the quicker level 2 ping.
Yeah, I mean they've got pretty good sustain on both sides between Pierce W and the heal from Alistar as well.
But it's Ezreal on the laning phase. He's going to build a tier. He's going to want to scale up. Lucian has a much stronger level 2, but it's this level 2 spike that's meant that Nuclear's almost poked out a lane.
I was going to say, speaking of level 2, Pure and Captain Jack really making the most of theirs. And if Pure had been able to land a nice Cosmic Binding, they might have been able to get a flash or a heal. But as is, they've really got lane dominance so far.
It's a real thinking man's course. They popped down that ward to deny the Grom, and then knew that they could pick up the Blue Sentinel almost instantly and get back to lane in time. And just have that experience advantage. It's just really good heads-up laning by Longzhu.
Yeah. Not bad. It is interesting to see standard lanes. We just don't see that a whole lot right now in the Korean scene.
Doesn't necessarily favor Longzhu. They're the team that opted into a lane swap in game 1. In game 3, when they have this Ezreal Bard lane that doesn't really have kill pressure, and obviously they got the level 2 spike, but apart from that, they don't have a lot going on.
Well, they've got a huge CS lead for Nuclear initially.
And that might eventually be wrestled back, but this laning phase doesn't get better for Longzhu just because this early advantage, this early farm buys Captain Jack a tier faster. It doesn't buy him any combat stats. So they're opting into a difficult laning phase, but this is just at least a difference. It's the same lineup from game 1 on the same side of the map, but they're going for something different because they recognized their plan at game 1 did not work.
True. A little bit of a lead for Expression up in this top lane against Soul. So that's straight up 1v1. Poppy able to be a little bit more tanky, I suppose.
Just waiting for this laning phase to continue. might be less objective play because there's less free objectives to pick up. One of the reasons Rift Herald was targeted in the previous game is it was at no cost. No one was taking anything across the map to punish those Rift Heralds, but when it is standard lanes, it's so much harder to call your laners and actually pick up buffs like that, so you could just have an extended laning phase for, again, the first time of the day, and minimal times this season.
I suppose. Well, last game, we saw Saucen die early on in a one-on-one. See if Coco wants to try to recreate that, but I think he'll probably play things a bit safer.
Big question marks for us, I think. He's trying to relieve pressure as far as we can see, but he's the one that shaped game one and then just fell way behind on Graves.
Things going down on the Flawless from the Longzhu side. They know what's up. They saw him go through the ward.
Chaser playing around his strong lane, playing around Expression. Because you have standard laning phase and you have a strong turret dive, it actually is difficult for Fiora to push up at any point because the kill pressure from Poppy Rek'Sai is on the higher end of top lane jungle duos.
Oh boy, action down the bot lane. Captain Jack backs away. A little bit of damage onto Secret. No summoners used on either side. Longzhu taking the worst end of that one though.
But you can see how fast this lane changes with levels because there's been no items pick up. There's a bit of a CS advantage for Ezreal, but there's just no way for Bard Ezreal to trade with the all-in potential of Nuclear and Secret on this Lucian Alistar that we've talked about so much this season.
Should have gone with Blitzcrank. Oh well. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody should play Blitzcrank right now.
There's always a situation for Blitzcrank, but it is a little bit few and far between.
Yeah. Not really much more.
You don't pick Bard or Ezreal for the laning phase. That's why we expected the lane swap. But I think it's been more about creating this pressure point in top with Expression and Chaser to hold down the Fiora, then avoiding what is a tricky laning matchup. So maybe just thinking, okay, we're not worried about Nuclear Secret really snowballing ahead in a 2v2 sense. Let's just try and make something happen around top to justify the weaker 2v2 laning matchup.
Expression still with the lead. And yeah, there's not a lot of progress that Soul can make at the moment.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a heat map of Chaser and Crash in their early jungle pathing, because it feels like Chaser's always on his side of the jungle, and it feels like Crash almost never is.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Crash is like Ambition if Ambition didn't die constantly in the enemy jungle.
Well, Ambition wouldn't be Ambition if he didn't die all the time.
Yeah, Soul trying to set up a bit of a bait, but he gets a little bit too low. There we go. There's Chaser in the enemy jungle for you.
That's that vision. Kind of announces his position, though.
Yep. Go for the Krugs, and he gets it. Smites it away from Flawless.
Look, Flawless won't mind just farming his side of the map. Chaser's not making map pressure, so... Oh, this time, though, he is around the red buff spawn timer.
Whoa, meanwhile, first blood down in bot lane. We didn't even get to see that one. Action up in the jungle now as Flawless has to flash away from Chaser. Coco and Expression following. But apparently, there was a 2v2 in bot where Captain Jack and Pure actually got the kill in the Nuclear. Let's see how this happened.
The Secret's just brawling. He must have his cooldowns down. Just end up dying. Double flash on top of him. The Ignite comes through. Secret's just a onlooker for that fight.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do to protect your Lucian when he gets hit with that Cosmic Binding, takes all that damage, a little bit too far up in lane, and Longzhu did a good job of capitalizing on that.
Yeah, Alistar's cooldowns are long in early levels. If you misuse them, as was on display right there, both Ezreal and Bard have so many different ways to skip past, Ignite down, and wow, just a 2v2 kill for Longzhu in what is a disadvantageous laning matchup, as we explained.
Yeah, and a bloodthirsty first blood for Pure, which is the best part of that, in my opinion.
You know the way you like it, Doa.
I do.
I commend
It's
that.
the best way.
I don't know. Captain Jack getting a few extra items is pretty good too.
He's going to be stacking that tier anyway. He doesn't need him now.
Flawless doing some counter jungling of his own. He's going to be spotted out though.
Yeah, but is there... I don't know. I feel like Pierce saw him, but there just wasn't a lot he could do about it.
I think he pulled both the little lizard and the big lizard into the camp, so actually maybe wasn't spotted there. Ends up surprised.
Could be.
Back to the laning phase. Although much more exciting because there's actually turrets up.
Yeah. Expression still with that nice lead up in top lane. Still a nice lead for Captain Jack, and extending that after Nuclear was dead for a little while. That helps.
No junglers paying attention to the bottom lane. There's actually a lot of pick pressure between the Rek'Sai and then the Bard ultimate. Could be some flash on burrow shenanigans where the flash is down. This time though, looking to punish Fiora on top.
Yep, time to dive. Soul thrown against the wall there. Chaser misses his Prey Seeker, but he's still going to get the kill anyway. TP coming in, and Saucin, I don't think that's where you want to be right now, buddy. Well, maybe you do. Chaser gives him a kill, and Expression not taking too much damage as Coco able to tank the turret and allow Expression to pick up that one.
That should actually have been 2 clean kills for Longzhu. That was a big mistake from Chaser. He thought he had dropped aggro and hadn't, so he just crucially died. Even with the heal being used from Coco to give him, theoretically, that extra little bit wasn't enough, so
yeah, it was
sloppy.
a bit sloppy. But
sloppy from both sides. Saucin teleported in far, far too late. There was no hope of him saving his laner and Soul, and ended up giving up a kill, so all in all, advantage Longzhu.
A nice poke on the Nuclear. Nuclear, without those summoner spells right now, needs to play this lane very, very carefully.
No summoners on either side, but of course we're talking about Ezreal, who has the bigger of the 2 dashes.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's easier for Pure and Captain Jack to catch up and burst down Nuclear than it is for Nuclear to get away.
Look at Chaser. Actually is being a lot more aggressive this game. Pure playing around Chaser better. This is good adaptation from Longzhu.
This could get awkward here. They see Flawless.
Just causing pressure, and Expression has had lane control, as we would expect in the early levels against this Fiora, and now with double buffs, there's very little that Fiora can do.
Yeah. Wow, Expression's nearly got this turret down, more or less by himself. Whoops.
He's in this awkward spot where he has the Barmy Cinder, so he can't get in for auto attacks, even though with red buff burning on turrets, he could actually get this turret down in the foreseeable future. But because it's so low, it's actually one of those situations where it might keep Fiora around and open up a dive.
Yeah, well, speaking of the dive, Chaser was coming in for that, but now he's just taking a lot of damage. Flawless there as well to claim those Krugs. Here comes Coco coming up towards the top lane. They're going to chase Soul and Flawless away. This is all part of the plot to take the top lane turret, and it looks like it's going to work.
Yep, red buff burn. They're going to get the first turret of the game so much later than we're used to. 11 minutes for the first turret. No dragons, no Rift Heralds. Very different game, but so far suiting Longzhu.
Yeah. That's looking that way.
This is the big worry, though, for SBENU, is that they have the superior 2v2 lane. They're against a tier Sheen champion, and they're still consistently losing out in trades and turret damage and just chip damage to their structures.
Yeah, if this is what Captain Jack is doing to you now, you should be very afraid about the late game.
In the early game, Ezreal hits like a wet noodle, but very quickly in the mid game, he starts becoming really fearsome. So
He hits like a really dry noodle that's been sitting on your counter for too long.
expired noodle.
He hits like an expired noodle. That sounds fearsome, doesn't it?
It does, but it's coming close to the point where you have to respect that Ezreal. It's going to be Iceborne Gauntlet first. This is my favorite of the 2 builds. Some people like to rush down the Mana Moon, but Iceborne Gauntlet gives you so much cooldown reduction, allows you to push back the waves with the AoE on your Mystic shots. To me, it's just a little bit stronger, and of course, it gives you a little bit more structure damage with the proc.
Well, the kiting is nice too. I mean, you stay safer. Magical journey.
You just wanted to say that.
Magical journey. That's
So,
right.
one of the coolest ability names. Looking at the goal, about 700 between the AD carries, which is, again, worry for Nuclear. Only 6 CS behind, but everything else really working for Longzhu. Just look how far Expression can overextend on top. They know Nidalee's in the bottom side of the map. They know that Expression has no worries whatsoever about Soul's Fiora, so to steal jungle camps, he might even go and try and steal this red.
Yeah.
In the bot, though.
Captain Jack sensing a possible engage from Secret. Should be okay. Yeah, I mean, this is just giving Longzhu a lot of time to spend in the enemy jungle, too, up at top.
Well, this is going to be a team fight menace, this Poppy. Stealing
so.
reds, easily winning lane. Of course, Fiora will eventually get her items. More and more like 30, 35 minutes, and Longzhu could have a big lead before that ever happens.
They could. Right now, all of the lanes ahead for Longzhu. And it may be time for a dragon here pretty soon.
getting position on it, but Flawless and Secret there to relieve pressure. So for now, no dice on the Dragon counter. Special going for a walk across the map. He's bored.
Yep, why not? Well, there's a wave clear.
Captain Jack's very low on mana, so that might be why Nidalee stayed in lane alone, forcing the first recall from Captain Jack, allowing SBENU to reset that lane as they please.
He's not gone yet.
Well, he's only got about 2 Mystic shots left in him.
And here comes Chaser, and here comes Coco too. Teleport up for Sauce and Soul. They can join if they want to. Oh, doesn't hit with the Bard ult, but they do a lot of damage to Flawless. Nuclear trying to turn it around. Did they get the kill on Captain Jack? They do. SBENU turns it, but they may lose more in the end. No, there goes Coco, and SBENU comes out ahead. 1 for 2. Flawless doesn't quite take enough damage to die. That was not the greatest gank by Longzhu.
It's just a really bizarre force. Remember, they're the ones that used the ultimate. They're the ones that wanted to fight, despite the fact that Captain Jack was literally useless. There's nothing he can do.
Well, they've got a lead, too. They don't really need to do this.
They call in the teleport, even though they're out of position. Nuclear goes Rambo. That's what he needed to do. He was going to die one way or the other, but Coco also dies to the Grand Challenge. So the teleport from Fiora is much more on point than what Expression was able to put down. And yeah, SBENU rescue a little bit of momentum after kind of being bled out of the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, and that momentum is just kind of handed to them on a silver platter by Longzhu, too. That seemed like a bad idea, you know?
Can we be surprised that when you change 3 members of your lineup for against
Hello.
Oh boy.
Here comes a package. Secret trying to clear a ward, but he may get more than he bargained for. Headbutt against Coco, just trying to make it out, but it's going to be a kill for Longzhu in the end anyway.
It's a nice force, but just coming back to the point, can we be surprised that shot calling kind of wavers depending on engage, wavers depending on game, when you're wholesale changing your lineup 3 games in a row?
Yeah, I mean, the Longzhu game 2 looked a lot more decisive in a good way.
But this has been a welcome return to form for the core of Expression, Chaser, and Coco. It's been a big improvement compared to game 1, and even the last couple of times we saw these guys on the Rift, so good to see them appearing competitive. It's good to have 10 players, maybe 8 at this point, but theoretically 10 players who can all argue for a starting spot for Longzhu.
I suppose. I don't think Pierre has a lot to worry about in the support role, that's for sure.
I didn't think Chaser had much to worry about in the jungle role, but this Crash guy turned out to be pretty good.
They're going to try to catch Expression here. Expression using his ult to push Soul away for the moment. We're just knock him up anyway. There's the flash, dodges the spear, turns around. He's still in trouble though. No summoners. There's the Tempered Fate. Can they actually get there in time to save him? Pure is trying. He's got the W, keeps him alive just barely. There's the shield, and Expression manages to make it to safety. What a save by Pure.
And there was a split call from SBENU. You noticed that Soul dropped out when he knew that the Grand Challenge stacks would drop off. Longzhu trying to get some turret damage in. They're going to get it low at least.
They're going to get more than some damage. They may, no, not quite.
Didn't have a minion wave. That was the big problem there.
Oh yeah. You kind of need those.
Even with strong turret damage, couldn't quite take it down. Lucian's going to stick around.
Oh, here's one. There's a mid-range.
Not quite able
Not enough.
to force the mid lane turret. So we're back to this.
Oh goody. It was a very short magical journey. It's more like a magical jog.
I mean, to be honest, this particular skin ice skates around the map, so he's kind of always on a bit of a magical jog.
It's true. A magical trip. It's a little bit shorter than a journey. A magical weekend. It sounds more like something you advertise to get people to come to Summoner's Rift, and then when they get here, it's not exactly a wonderful, relaxing vacation weekend you're told it was going to be.
It is a nice long vacation, though. Maybe you'll get more time than you expect.
But the whole being forced to fight to the death thing probably isn't quite great. SBENU going for their first dragon for anybody here. About 18 minutes, they will take it. Meanwhile, Rift Herald taken by Longzhu.
I think Dragon for Rift Herald, definitely advantage first Dragon, but remains to be seen what Longzhu can do with this Rift Herald buff. The answer consistently has been not much in basically every game we see.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they'd make that kind of trade, but it seems like they just weren't ready to contest the dragon.
Again, Rift Herald's kind of a bonus when you have pressure over the top side of the map. It's just one of those things where, well, we might as well take it, right? That's just where it's at the moment. I feel like that'll change, just like Dragon is finally getting buffed up and having some more game-changing second and fourth buffs. I feel like Rift Herald a tweak away from being contested objectives pure.
Oh, he has to flash after being chunked out by Saucin in secret.
This is the worry, though, for SBENU, is that Fiora should be at the stage where she's trying to really get in the face and maybe at least attempt to duel Poppy, but she's 2 levels and 50 CS behind, so no hopes of that.
Well, Soul just continues to not look like the strongest top laner we've got here in Korea, to say the least.
It's definitely one of the lower tier ones, but it was a good Quinn performance in game 1. The Fiora, though, leaving a bit to be desired. It's a bit push fun for Saucin.
Yeah, they may try to come in behind Saucin here. No, it doesn't look like it. Just gonna recall.
The cackles.
Yeah. Evil Lulu left.
She is a menace, that one. I feel like some champions come into the meta and they're quickly forced out. Ringglaive Ezreal didn't last very long, for example, and things like that, but Lulu seems to last forever. Forever Lulu
Well,
mid.
she's got such good utility, you know?
Sure, but there's a way to force her out of the meta.
Yeah. How's that?
I mean, the big change I always wanted for Lulu was to remove the AP ratio on her Whimsy. Just seems unnecessary to have a champion that gives someone 700 MS.
Well, somebody's going to go after Lulu anyway, even if it's not Riot. Saucin flashes to try to avoid it. There's a wild growth. Still taking a lot of damage, though. And he will give a kill over to Chaser.
They're caught there. Longzhu playing around where they had advantage. Multiple members above. Oh boy, very close for the spear for Flawless, but
It's a good attempt.
they're able to relieve pressure in the mid lane and potentially apply a whole lot of pressure to this inner turret in the bot.
Saucin clearly having some issues after being killed off for the second time, and Longzhu gets to put a good amount of siege onto this tier 2 turret down in bot lane.
It's double AD, so plenty of turret damage, but for now the 3-man members of SBENU are doing a decent job keeping, but look at the price they're paying to just even keep this competitive. They lose their mid lane turret. Remember, mid lane, the most important turret, and Soul's only now starting to wail away, and now it's going to have to back away from this top lane turret.
Yeah, that little pick onto Saucin seems to have really opened up the game for Longzhu, getting the mid lane turret, doing a lot of damage to the tier 2 in bottom, the tier 2 in mid. It's a good start.
They lost basically half their inner turrets and an outer mid lane turret, and a kill. That was such a momentum change, or a momentum extension. Longzhu's always been on the advantage this game, but they're starting to really grow that out. 7,000 gold now at 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Just doesn't feel like the late game insurance of the Fiora is going to pay off. Just so many items behind. 2 armor items already, and now magic resist being built by Expression.
Oh, there's the ult. He's trying to send some minions away, I guess. They do clear the wave. Oh, the minions are back. Well, they went for a magical journey.
Overall success though.
Yeah.
Getting those minions away meant probably about 300-400 health more on that outer mid lane turret. Keeps it healthy for now.
That's a pretty quick cooldown on the ultimate, too. No big deal.
More siege. SBENU just doesn't seem to have control in any map. That's usually the sign of a team that's at the mercy of the enemy, is that they've never had control on top. That's always been about the Poppy. Ever since that fast level 2, they've struggled even in bot lane. Despite wrestling them back here, between here and there, and mid lane Corki's always going to be in a decent spot in mid, so long as just have applied pressure. And Chaser, actually, his step up this game, it's not quite Crash, but it's been good to see him running the enemy jungle rather than just being the more farm jungler we've seen previously.
Yeah. The next dragon should be about 2 minutes, if I remember right. 2-2, taken by Longzhu. They've got more and more map pressure on, and they're leaving a lot of wards too. Can he save the turret? I don't know.
Soul seems
looks like
really scared by a full tank Rek'Sai.
I guess so, yeah. Gonna lose the turret anyway. And Soul may pop that ultimate. He will. Going against the wall. Here comes Expression. Knocked up. Soul in trouble. Saucin TP'd up to try to help out. Now they're going to go after him. There's the ult coming in from Expression. This 2v2 continues. Coco and Flawless. Flawless actually zoning Coco out. But here comes Pure and Flawless on the run now. Saucin still in trouble. There's a Tempered Fate. They catch Flawless. True Shot Barrage nearly kills Soul. but the kills coming in for Longzhu now. Expansion with a nice knockback onto Secret. Secret has his ultimate. That Alistar is very tanky, not tanky enough. Longzhu gets the big win in that team fight.
Crazy extended fight that eventually led to a delayed 5v5,
Wow.
but SBENU just wasn't clear on their call. Soul's first reaction when he saw Rek'Sai was to back away, even though he had a teleport potentially to back him up. And then by the time he re-engaged, he had no mana, so he just couldn't be a force in that long extended team fight, even though he didn't fall down. And the result is Longzhu just growing their lead now. 2 turrets down in the top lane. Only that mid lane inner turret left when it comes to inner turrets, and that one's on pretty low health itself.
Pretty much. And now you'd have to say that SBENU is in a lot of trouble.
They're definitely on emergencies, and it doesn't look like the Fury is going to be the tonic to get them back into it. Sassen getting caught led to such a cavalcade of objectives for Longzhu that the hole that put them in looks like a very difficult one to get out of. Even though we're only talking about a 5-kill game, it's basically 9,000, coming close to 10,000 gold lead for Longzhu in 25 minutes.
Flawless in a little bit of trouble. Expression and Chaser there. And should be able to make it out. Meanwhile, whoa, action on the bot lane. Goodbye, Sassen. Nuclear in trouble too. Magical Journey. That's another double kill coming in for Coco. Expression just slowing down Flawless. He's going to go and dash. Force Flawless back over the wall. Nice knockup for Chaser. 2-shot barrage misses, but that's another kill for Longzhu.
Meanwhile,
And yeah, Soul trying to split push a little bit, but I think Longzhu is going to be happy to trade a tier 2 for an inhibitor if it even comes to that.
there's no wave clear for 20 seconds. At minimum, they're going to get an inhibitor, even though they're starting to tank it up. Only Allison dissuade them. There's no way he can do that. It's going to be inhibitor for inner turret, which pretty simple when it comes to trades. Inhibitor goes down, and Longzhu in the driver's seat.
Yep. Looking way more decisive again. I mean, it's surprising to see such a change, you know, after the way game 1 went, but you know, maybe Lustboy and the other coaches gave him a good talking to, and they're looking a lot better here in game 3. I'm gonna grab their first dragon.
It's a long season. This is a squad that realistically was never going to be pushing for first spot, just given the fact that you're putting so many new members together to form a team, but they just want to be within touching distance of the playoffs, and with a win here, they go to 4 wins along with the likes of Jin Air and SKT. So even though they've never really sorted out their identity, they're getting closer. SBENU's going for the desperate Baron, though.
Yep, they got to try something here.
Oh, this is
Baron
gonna be
doing
bad.
some damage. It could be bad. Yep, Baron going down very slowly. The rest of Longzhu is there. Chaser looking to go in and steal. Can he get it knocked out? Doesn't look like the steal will come in. No, they get the Baron, but will they survive to use it? Longzhu all over them. Another kill comes in. Already Nuclear taken out. A kill onto the other bot laner. Secret goes down, and Longzhu with the chase. Chaser trying to come in with the flank, and he should be able to get it. Look for a nice 3-man knockup here. Gets a 2-man knockup anyway. 2-shot barrage comes through with a chunk. There's Pure with nice cosmic binding for the kill onto Flawless. Another one onto Sassen as well, and only Soul makes it out with that Baron buff, and I think that's going to be the game.
Yeah, they needed a Baron. They needed to go for Sun, and they knew they would be bled out if they didn't. It was a really nice headbutt from Secret to deny the Smite steal from the overleveled Rek'Sai, but the result is still going to be Longzhu picking up the win.
Well, this has got to be the quickest game for Longzhu all season, I think. Sub 30 minutes. When do you ever see that? Secret comes back, and are they a little bit too low to close? Yeah, I guess so. Nuclear back, and we're so low in timers that the death timers are pretty short too still.
Still high in gold lead though. 11,000 is the lead, as we see the adorable memes going back with Pure on this Bard. 2-0 and 10. Doesn't have 100% kill participation, but does have some nice items. But this is the replay. It was actually the headbutt. It's missed here, but it was really nice to deny the Baron steal from Chaser. It was so over level that it would have been an easy academic steal, but they just keep chasing. And even though Chaser doesn't have Flash, he was very smart in his Unburrow usage to pick up those picks and just break the base once again.
Yeah. That's impressive stuff. And Sassen caught. There's the Tempered Fate. Wow, can Pure really sustain this long enough? Here comes Coco. Flawless now taking damage. Nice knockup from Chaser. This is a bit of a brawl for Longzhu. I don't know if this is a great idea. Kill comes in for Nuclear. Pure on the run. Captain Jack in trouble now. Soul trying to make a play. Gets one onto Bard. Can he get the double? Doesn't look like it. Longzhu trying to turn it around again. And I guess they'll barely take the team fight. They'll take the tier 2 and mid at some point as well.
That's what we call a 10,000 gold lead, though. Even
I
when you
guess.
mess it up, you're in bad positions, one of your carries dies, there's so much gold on everyone else. Expression at this point can kill 2-3 people alone. He
That's
does so
sloppy.
much damage, but it is sloppy from Longzhu.
It's sloppy, and it nearly costs them. In the end, they will turn out okay. Things will turn out okay for Longzhu.
But this is the luxury of playing the early game smart, of growing this lead, is you get to make a mistake or two before you're really going to be caused to be punished by the enemy. Soul has his 2 items, but it's so late, 3 items actually, so it's actually fairly powerful on the Fiora at this point. Sarsen's looking for the chase, but honestly it's Sarsen being caught so often this game that's really caused a lot of these headaches for SBENU.
Yeah, it's not been a great day for him, just in general.
Well,
Nuclear with a surprising amount of kills too, actually. Or surprising amount of deaths, rather. Nuclear generally is one of the safer AD carries.
wave go as much as he can, but Longzhu are kind of toying with their food at this point. They have so many different ways to engage, to split push. The 5v5's looking great. Fiora's not as big enough factor yet. Longzhu get to decide how to end this game and end the suffering for SBENU.
Well, or prolong the suffering, as SBENU would move to the still only winless team in the league.
Had another game win today, but the match win definitely still seems to elude them.
Yeah, match wins are what count. All right, Longzhu sieging this inhibitor turret. Nice combo, nice knockup. There goes Saucin in trouble again. Nuclear drops a culling, but it's just not doing too much. That's an odd magical journey. I guess they're going to go the mid lane. Coco and Expression seem to have things well under control as the kills keep coming in for Longzhu. And maybe now they can end this one. They lost Chaser. Don't need to kill this inhibitor, just being thorough. Don't really have the minion waves as the inhibitor. Actually, no, the inhibitor just came up in boss, and they do need to do it, but they may have it. Secret trying to make plays. Oh, there goes Nuclear. There goes Secret. So this should be the end of game number 3, and Longzhu, not the cleanest best of 3 we've seen, but in the end, they still get the win. They're going to move to 4-3. GG.
Big welcome return to form for the likes of Chaser, and Coco specifically had an objectively poor game in game 1 on the Lulu.
Right.
The Lulu curse comes to Sarsen this time. It was caught out so many times, a big contributor to SBENU falling behind in the mid game. But Coco, 10-2-8, magic damage crits in the late game with Corki. Pretty damn strong.
You know, and a big part of this game, again, was just Saucin getting caught over and over on that Lulu. Obviously a disappointing performance, and it's a bummer, too, after they were able to, win one in game number 1.
Well, there goes that Lulu win rate. Both Sarsen and Coco certainly contributing to the win rate going down.
I'd say so.
Just every time, Coco was just bursting down Sarsen, and Sarsen couldn't even ult. He would die to the big crits coming through with the mixed damage, physical magic. Longzhu looked a lot better in game 3. There was an improvement in game 2, and even though they wholesale changed the lineup, it was a gradual improvement over the course of a 3-game series from Longzhu game.
I just like game 2 a little bit better, but a win is a win, right?
We just want to see more of Crash, that guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
That guy's awesome.
Crash, Flame, and Frozen. That's the trio I like on Longzhu, but when push comes to shove rather, why is that such a hard sentence to say suddenly? I don't know. It's been a long series. We're not done yet, though, guys. Another best of 3 coming up between the Rocks Tigers and EM Fire. But right now, it's all about the big win for Longzhu.
A steadier 2. They still got some tough games to come before the end of this round, though, so...
Oh, yeah. It's only going to get harder from here on for Longzhu. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with the winners interview and our second best of 3 right after this on Champion Spring.